doing on a scale of 1 to 38. Shout it out and on 3. 1, 2, 3.
21.
31.
You guys have gotten so good at that. I am so proud of you. I have no idea how any of you are doing. But I hope it's good. I hope it's good. My name is Barak, in case you don't know that. It's spelled like Barack. It's pronounced kind of like Derek with a B. Or just guess. If you ever need my attention, just guess and say anything near my name and I'll answer. Anyway, today we are in this series called Moods. It's just talking about the feelings, emotions, and moods that we all experience. And we're diving into what it looks like to experience and have our moods, our feelings in a good and healthy way. And just in a way that doesn't let our feelings or our emotions be the boss of us. And so before we start getting into what we're going to talk about, I have a question for you. What is the weirdest thing that you're scared of? Weirdest thing you're scared of? Yeah, Karis. All apples? Oh, animals, period. Animals, period. Got it. Yeah, Chris. The basement. Okay, that's fair. Does anyone else run up the basement when you turn off the lights because you're afraid that a monster's going to get you? Same! Anyway, yeah, Jillian. Do what? Elevators. Oh my gosh.
Llamas.
Yeah, llamas. Okay. Planes. Yep. All right. All of these. They're crazy fear. Yeah, Izzy, last one. Skydiving. Have you been skydiving? Oh, good. I maybe you wouldn't be afraid of it if you tried it. I don't know. But you know, have you ever felt something that made you feel like this? Like this? Anyone? Like that? Been so scared? Or maybe like you're so scared to be at night without any lights on, like you need a night light, and you just feel like this when it's completely dark. You're like so scared. Or maybe you watched you saw a clown and you were like this.
I saw a really scary movie.
No, that's not something.
That's the wallpaper. That's amazing. You're welcome. Or maybe you saw something like crazy on TV and you feel like this. Or maybe you watched this movie and that's how you felt watching it. I don't know. Or maybe you're scared of getting a shot at the doctor and you feel like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my little sister. We have to hold her down.
No, that's like regulating a bull.
Or last one, maybe you were just afraid of something and you felt like this. No! And reverse. That's a big nope from a baby. All right. Well, I don't have I don't know if I've made any of these exact faces. You can go back to the mood slide, Adam. I definitely have had things that I was scared of when I was younger. Definitely, I remember having just being absolutely terrified of the Jurassic Park dinosaurs and all that. Right? Yes. Anyone? Yeah. And so I played at one point. I played the computer game for Jurassic Park for like an entire day, and this was back when computer games were like not great, and it was like made for 3-year-olds, and it really wasn't that scary. It was a game made for 3-year-olds, but it gave me nightmares, and I didn't sleep for 4 nights. I just stayed up like, what if a velociraptor gets me? And, okay, maybe it's a little bit of a stretch for some of you. Maybe you're like, why are you afraid of dinosaurs? Why are you afraid of just things you see on TV? That's silly. But for others of us, maybe it is scary. But, you know, as we've grown up, I think things have probably gotten less scary. Like, something that was silly and we were scared of when we were little probably is like, you logically know, oh, that I shouldn't be scared of the dark anymore. Maybe you still are. But maybe you're not. Now, I think that for most of us, there are probably bigger things that we're afraid of, more serious things to be afraid of. And the feeling we're feeling behind being afraid is the word fear. And the truth is, we all feel fear. We all know what it's like to be afraid of something. Some fears are really common, like talking in public in front of a bunch of people. Some of you would be horrified if I said, all right, your turn, you're getting on stage and you are talking today. Yeah, no, some of you would be like, no, or snakes. Some of you are really afraid of snakes. Spiders, anyone afraid of spiders? Yeah, I mean, probably all of us have at least one of those fears or have had them at some point. And then there are some really unique and uncommon fears, like we talked about that a little bit. But I have some here. They're very fun. Let's see. The first one. This is a game, so I need you guys' help. Guess what this is afraid of? Nomophobia. What is nomophobia?
Garden gnome.
Garden gnomes. It is not gnomes.
No, being alone.
Being alone. No, it's actually fear of being without your smartphone. That is what that is specifically. Someone in this room has that. All right. Xanthophobia. Xanthophobia. No, it's not that. Any other guesses?
Lotion.
Lotion. Ocean. No, it is fear of the color yellow. Yep. All right. Globophobia. Globophobia.
Scared of glowing
Fear.
dark stuff.
Glowing in the dark. What? The world. Anyone else? Any guesses?
Spheres.
Spheres? No, it's actually fear of balloons. Specifically fear of balloons.
My
All
door.
right.
Wait, does that include balloon
Sure. How about this one? I don't know if I'll pronounce it right. Ephebephobia. Ephebephobia. There we go.
Feathers.
Ephebephobia.
Feathers.
Feathers? No. No, it is the fear of teenagers. There is probably at least one person in this room who has that, and they're like freaking out right now. Oh, this one's fun. Omphalophobia. Omphalophobia.
Scared of felonies.
No, good guess. No. Nope. It is fear of belly buttons.
Lift your shirt.
All right. All right. How about paganophobia? Paganophobia.
Scared of
Dog
parties.
face.
Nope. What?
Dog face.
Dog? What?
Dog face.
Oh, pog face. It's like pug. Yep, I see. No, it's actually fear of beards. Yes, I know.
Hey, dogs, we're
If
going
any of you have that, thank goodness I don't have a beard. All right. How about this one? I'll do this one. Last one. Pupophobia.
Scared of the public.
Scared of dogs.
Scared of what?
The public.
The public? Very close now.
People.
People?
Scared of
No.
public talking.
No. It's actually fear of puppets. Oh, you said puppets? You get a prize of 5 pointless points. Good job, Lindsay. Woo! So proud. I love it. Okay, so, those were interesting phobias, and some of you had no idea that those were real phobias. But they are. People are actually afraid of them. And regardless of what you're scared of, we all have that in common. We all have moments where we experience fear. And for some of you, fear is a really big deal. Like, you feel fear, and that's the only thing you feel. You're like, oh gosh, I am so afraid. But then for others of you, you feel fear, and then you figure out a way to get rid of it as fast as possible, and you just ignore it. You're like, I'm not afraid of that at all. And sure, you might be worried about a couple things, but not really that much at all. And no matter how you manage fear, I think our imagination, it plays a huge part in experiencing fear. The stuff we're usually most afraid of is the stuff that we imagine is going to happen to us, right? Like when you're running up the stairs and it's dark behind you and you're afraid of something getting your feet or nipping your heels. Yeah, it's our imagination that tells us that that's going to happen. It's the stuff that we can't control, we don't see coming, or don't know how to handle. That's the stuff that we can really only imagine. And when fear takes over our minds and motivates our thoughts, it leads us down an endless path of what-ifs. For example, what if I never have the friends I want? What if my parents get divorced? What if I never get taller? What if my sister doesn't get better? What if my boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with me? What if God isn't actually real? What if I fail my class? What if we move? What if I get in trouble? What if my dad loses his job? What if I don't make the team? What if I don't feel any different than the way I feel right now? What if my acne never goes away? Dun, dun, dun. I know. I'm here to tell you. It still hasn't gone away from me, so some of you might have a very long journey ahead of you. Anyway, and I am almost 25. So, see what I mean? Fear can take us down a path of endless worry. One what if leads to another what if. And when we're faced with fears, most of us have one of three responses. The first one is fight. To fight. When we're faced with fear, some of us fight against it. We react to it. We're like, we're going to conquer this fear. I'm going to slay it with my imaginary fear sword. I don't know. Maybe you can yell at your dad to take care of himself, or force your siblings to avoid a party because you're worried about the bad decisions that they could make. Or maybe you study more because you're afraid of getting a bad grade. Maybe, yeah, that's what it is. You attack it, you fight it, and you try to make sure that it's fixed or stopped, whatever bad thing could happen, or done what you can to make this fear from becoming a reality. Or, second one, flight. This one probably is the one I tend to fall more into, but you go away from it. When you're faced with fears, you tend to move away from them. Fear motivates you to run in the opposite direction, to avoid asking the tough questions that will maybe lead you to doubt your faith or your parents, or you stay away from your friends when they hurt you because you don't want to face the fear that they might reject you. Maybe you're afraid that you won't get the lead in a play or a part on the team, and so you don't try out in the first place. You avoid things you're worried about or afraid of altogether. And then the last one, the third one, is freeze. Freeze. And finally, for some of you, you simply freeze. You freeze in your tracks, and it paralyzes you. You don't want to know what to do. You hide under your covers and wait for the fear to go away, right? And here's the thing. Fear is natural. Fear is real. Like, we all experience it no matter who we are or what age we're at. All of us experience fear. And because, honestly, there's a lot of stuff to be afraid of. There is. There's legitimate stuff that we probably want to be cautious around, like fire. You probably don't want to go put your hand in fire. That is an appropriate thing to be afraid of. That could hurt you. But the issue is when fear takes over, when fear becomes the boss of our actions, thoughts, and life, that's when we need to figure out a new way to face it. So one of the best things about the Bible is that it gives us examples of real people, that experienced fear, that experienced a bunch of other things. And while on earth, Jesus spent most of his time with a group of 12 people, or at least most of his ministry life in the 3 years of his ministry, public ministry. And they were his disciples. They were his closest followers. Because they spent so much time with Jesus, they saw him perform miracles, they saw him heal people, they saw him teach a lot and do really amazing things. And so you'd think that Jesus' closest friends and followers would have nothing to fear, right? They've seen Jesus do a bunch of really cool stuff. You'd think that he could probably do almost anything. And you're like, oh, why would these guys have any reason to be afraid with Jesus on their side? Well, one of those guys that was following Jesus, his name was Matthew, and he actually wrote down the story of Jesus' life and his death and his resurrection. And in Matthew 8, 23 through 25, there's this story about Jesus and his disciples. So then he got into the boat, and his disciples followed him being Jesus. Suddenly, a furious storm came upon the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him up, saying, "Lord, save us, we're going to drown." Okay, so the disciples, they were in a boat. Anyone gone boating before? Boating, yes, all right, some of us have gone boating. They were in a boat, not probably a very different boat than the one you were in, but still a boat. They were on the river, and then all of a sudden there's this huge storm, and there's waves coming up on the boat, and they were freaked out. Jesus was also taking a nap, and so that was confusing too. And I think that sometimes we might give them a hard time for this, but let's be honest. I think all of us would be freaked out in that situation, period. It's like, oh gosh, we could die. This is something to be afraid of. So they woke up Jesus, probably thinking come on, Jesus, we're going to drown. So anyway, this is what Jesus said next. He replied, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the wind and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him." That's super cool. And what exactly did Jesus do? Well, exactly what he was capable of doing. He calmed the storm. He took the thing that the disciples were afraid of, and he stopped it in its tracks. He eased their fears, not just by stopping the wind and the waves, by proving something else. We can choose to face, by providing that there was something else that we can choose in the face of fear, and that is faith. We can choose faith in the face of fear. Looking back at what Jesus said when the disciples woke him up, he specifically said, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Now, I don't know what's going on there. Like, I wasn't there. None of us were obviously there. And I don't think Jesus was actually that mad at his disciples. I don't think he was trying to make them feel bad for not having faith or show them that they should have faith to overcome their fear. Did these disciples have a reason to be afraid? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. They were in the middle of a boat in a huge storm. It was scary. Jesus wanted them to know that their fear didn't have to be the only thing they felt. Because there's someone that is more powerful than fear, and that's Jesus. We might not be physically tossed around by a storm, but we all experience fear in some way, and we have more options than just fight, flight, or freeze. Faith. We have faith, and that's what Jesus offers us. You see, fear doesn't have to be the boss of you. Fear comes when we feel out of control, but the truth is, when we're out of control, Jesus is still in control. When we're out of control, Jesus is still in control, and we can trust him when we're in the middle of a storm. Will we have reasons to be afraid in life? Yes, we will. I'm not saying that faith means that you never ever fear again. That would be cool, but I don't think that's how it works, because in the Bible it says don't fear a whole lot. Not meaning, hey, you guys are horrible for not fearing, but saying, hey, you don't have to fear, because you actually can trust in Jesus in light of your fear, in the midst of your fear. He is with us in our fear. And our faith will still be with us. Jesus will still be with us even when the fear is gone. You see, our faith with Jesus is with us in fear and when the fear is gone. Because that's the thing. Fear doesn't have to be the boss of us. And like the disciples, Jesus offers us an alternative to fear. He offers us faith. So what do we do with our fears? Next time we're scared of something, let's take a look at this scripture for an answer. It's in, I think, 1 Peter, another one of Jesus' disciples. One of Jesus' followers said this: "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." Guys, Peter was one of the guys in the boat. He was one of the dudes who watched Jesus calm the storm. He got it. He's like, oh, even in light of my anxiety, my fear, I can cast that on to Jesus. I can cast that fear onto him. And when he says cast, he means like hurl it, throw it, just chuck it at Jesus. Don't worry, he can catch better than you, Corey. Sorry, Jesus can catch better than you. Which is a good thing, because he can catch our fears. He can take those away from us. These are active words, meaning that they won't happen by accident. We don't cast our cares on Jesus by accident. This has to be intentional. And how do we do this? Well, we can pray. We can talk to Jesus. We can invite him into our fears. We can focus on things that are true about Jesus. We can let our faith in his ability to handle our fears help us overcome them. So, this is where I want you to start this week. First, think about the fears you're facing right now. Big, small, do you think they matter or not, or whatever, and then write them down or say them aloud. Just put some words to what you're feeling and why. And then, one by one, take them to Jesus. You can even write these like on a rock and then throw them into the woods or something. Give them to Jesus, one by one. Ask him to help him, or ask him to give you the faith that he is in control. Pray that he'll be with you in the middle of whatever your storm is. Pray that he'll be with you, that you notice him, that you can give your fears to him, and ask him to walk you through them. And remember, fear does not have to be the boss of you. And remember, maybe some of you have a hard time even identifying what you're afraid of, and that's totally okay. That's actually why we're in community with other people that are trying to follow Jesus. That's why we have small group leaders. so that we can talk about, our life, what's going on, and help us maybe identify our fears, so that we can cast them on Jesus together. Because even if your circumstances don't change, you can walk through them with confidence and in faith in Jesus, who is in control of it all. So as we head into small groups today, I want you to think about this question. How do I usually respond to fear? All right, I'm going to pray and then we're going to head to small groups. Dear God, thanks so much for this day. Thank you for allowing each and every person to be here today together. I pray that you will bless our conversation in small groups and help us to just rely on you in the face of fear, as our faith in you is something that endures forever, but our fear does not. God, we're so thankful for you. In Jesus' name, amen.